Hello. Seems some audience would like to listen to the story in English. So today we were telling the story in English. Actually, you can go to the website, this website, and then you can choose between Chinese and English version of this article with just one click. And it's super convenient. Okay, so today's the story is written by Terri Nicholson about their experience with the fire-breathing dogs in the hell, and also how the master saved her daughter when she was just 3 to 4 years old. Okay, so the story, Terri and also Alan Nicholson were the old disciples of the master, and this event occurred in 1985 when their daughter Marcel was just 3 years old, and she lived her entire life at CTTB and took refuge with the master at 4 months of age. So before she was born, the Venerable master already named her wonderful flower, Miao Hua. So she have a very good affinity with the master. And in 1985, they planned a family trip to Mount Larsen National Park with Alan's brother. And Mount Larsen is an inactive volcano which last erupted in 1916. And there is some steaming peaks and boiling mud, and as well as some cave that is created by the last volcano eruptions. And in US, people consider it is a fascinating and unusual place to visit, and they were completely unaware of it is dangerous in any way. And unfortunately, at that time, they were equally ignorant. And from the time they arrived at the park, they felt uncomfortable, mainly because there's a great deal of hunting and fishing was going on at the lodge where they were originally planned to stay. There was a pond where the people could pick their own fish for lunch, and there are penned deer whose mother has been hunted and killed. Because they felt so uncomfortable, they decided to stay outside the park. Marcel, her daughter, was particularly ill at ease and asked several times to go home and see the master and listen to his lecture. Since they have already made plans with Alan's brother, so they stayed anyway. The rest of the week was uneventful except for a trip into one of the caves in the park, where Marcel became extremely frightened and upset. And for the several months after their trip, Marcel complained of nightmares of wolves chasing and biting her. And they encouraged her to recite Guanyi's name, but at the time, they didn't realize that how serious the problem was. In the beginning of January, when Marcel was 4 years old, she woke up early one morning screaming in pain and saying that her legs hurt. Later that day, she seems fine, but the leg pain continued. After a few days, they took her to the doctor, who assumed it was some sort of virus. As her symptoms grew more painful and severe, They became increasingly alarmed. The pain became so severe that she was unable to sit up or walk. So they planned to see the doctor again and to check up. And when they are ready to go, Marcel began to insist that she want to see Sifu, the master. And the assembly at that time was eating lunch with the master, and so they stopped to see the master on the way to the hospital. Strangely, though Marcel has asked to see the master, as soon as they drew near, she cried, and she wanted to live. The master told them a karmic obstacle has come. When they explained that they were on their way to see the doctor, the master replied, "They won't find anything," and they didn't. Blood tests were done, and 2 doctors, a pediatrician and an orthopedist, examined her and could find nothing. They finally diagnosed it as a viral inflammation of the joint, but Marcel was not in pain while they were there. That afternoon, they received a call from the office of the CTTV explaining that some sort of beings has attached itself to Marcel and was making her ill. They were instructed to recite Guanyin Bodhisattva's name and the Great Compassion Mantra. However, Marcel's condition worsened, and she was in a great deal of pain. Normally a sweet child, she developed a vicious temper and refused to cooperate in reciting at all. The only thing that calmed her was listening to a tape of the master reciting the Earthstorm Bodhisattva's name. Meanwhile, the master has gone to Vancouver. They became so alarmed at her worsening condition that they called the master there and asked for advice. The master's journey exhorted them to recite more sincerely. He also said that Marcel absolutely must not lose her temper and must recite Guanyin's name. With the help of a friend, to thought up of every expedient means to help Marcel. They gave her prizes for reciting, make books with her about getting better by reciting Guanyin's name, and also use a star chart to help her not to get anger. So that when the master returned to CTTV, she came directly to their house to see Marcel. After a long time, he explained that volcanoes are manifestation of hell on earth, and that many hell beings dwell there. Residing at Mount Larsen was a fire-breathing dog and his retinue. These dogs are born inside the mountain in the lava and thrive on fire and anger. They have extremely cantankerous nature. When they visit Mount Larsen, the leaders was attracted to Marcel's purity as a young disciple of the master and wished to make her part of his retinue, which involved making her sick by biting her so that she was near death. The master said he had convinced the leaders to let her go, but the others in the retinue hasn't all agreed, so they had to continue to recite diligently. And Terri said she couldn't describe the pain they felt when they realized that they had led her daughter into the lion's den and brought all this suffering upon her and the trouble to the master in their ignorance. They continue to recite and bow to a great compassion, repentance, and very gradually Marcel's pain began to lessen, and she was able to recite more. She would wake up screaming in pain, but if they could get her to recite Guanyi's name even for a few minutes, she would fall into a more peaceful sleep. And Terri said she was moved by also Marcel's young friends in CTTB, who came every day to see her, gave her the gifts, and they also prayed with her, so she won't be alone. And they will also sit and recite Guanyi's name and try to get her to recite as well. So the pain went away completely, and she was able to sit up and move around, though she was still unable to walk. The master told them not to worry, and that Marcel would walk eventually. So afterwards, they decided to make a meal offering to the Sangha. At the beginning of the meal offering ceremony, Marcel could walk only very awkwardly, but by the end of the meal, she was walking around and praying with her friend. So what a miracle. In the next few months, Marcel came down with an extremely high fever several times, and they began frightened that she would get sick again. The master explained that yes, she had bumped into the fire-breathing dog again, but that they shouldn't worry. If she got sick again, the master would help her to get well. And so Terri said the family are eventually eternally indebted to the master for his great compassion, not only in allowing them to bring up their kid in CTTB, a very pure way place, and but also in rescuing her daughter from the jaws of death.
病痛就生了。现在洛杉矶前几天，不是前几天，是这个2月19日，洛杉矶来那个罗果军，这鬼跟了，他那鬼什么鬼呢？是横死鬼，是自己吞枪自杀的。个横死鬼，这个横死鬼是一个西方的鬼，所以咱们知道他是这种鬼呢，就因为他自己用枪把自己在喉咙里自己把自己打死的，他一得这个病痛他就是那块痛。你们各位要注意一点这个鬼死了，这个人死了，不是鬼死了。人死了，他怎么样死的？他那鬼魂要来了，他就有那个本事，叫你也像他那么痛。这个鬼呢，就叫他喉咙痛心里头痛。所以嘛，给他搞了2-3个钟头，12点半呢，他休息以后才好。回到洛杉矶到现在不知道，这鬼有没有找他？那么为什么这鬼找他呢？就因为他这个业障和这鬼有这种缘起，有这种的孽。跟他来干什么呢？他就来想要得度他不好好的 想要得度，他先显神通，那么也就像示威似的，看看他有什么本事。结果他还算得对。那么今天讲的这个是七舍遮杰拉陀苦，畜生的苦等等，人们要知道如果不是地藏王菩萨发这么大的愿呢，相信我们现在或者也在地狱里受苦呢，也在恶鬼里头是遭报呢，也在畜生里边呢受苦呢。那么现在所以能做人的原因呢，也都是地藏王菩萨在无量劫发这个大愿，把我们从地狱救出来，从恶鬼里救出来，从畜生里边救出来。不过我们现在都没有得到许命通，没有得到天眼通，也不知道我们以前受过地藏王菩萨多少好处多少的慈悲这种的恩载，这种的对我们这种利益我们都不知道如果不是地藏王菩萨在早发这么个大愿我们危险的很所以我们现在时时刻刻都应该抱着一个报地藏王菩萨的恩这么一个心
念观世音菩萨，拜观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨来现身见你，你又不认识观世音菩萨，所以众生就是很苦恼。
千处祈求千处应，这观世音菩萨你不是一个地方求他来救一个地方，你就有千处万处百千万处，有多少人求他就随心满愿去帮忙你这么多的众生令你离苦得乐。所以每一个人都应该常常的念南无观世音菩萨，念念勿生疑。你这个念的时候千万不要生疑心，不要说这念有什么用呢这念观世音菩萨这岂不是没有什么意思，天天念那观世音菩萨观世音菩萨你就生出疑心。最要紧的就不要生疑心，念念勿生疑，你就一念之中也不应该生怀疑心，要生信心，念念不生疑。观世音净圣，这观世音菩萨这个清净的圣者，清净的圣者于苦恼死，在你有这个最苦这个痛苦的时候，最烦恼的时候，或者讲要危险要死的时候，厄难，这个就是厄难，能为做依护，能给你做一个依护，就是做你的保护者。依是依靠，护就是保护着你，他能保护着你，你可以把你身心性命就交给观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨一定会帮你们，一定会保护着你。